All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Greetings from the Garden State, powered by the New Jersey Lottery. I'm your host, Mike Ham. We are here at home base today, Radio Garden State HQ, Bloomfield, New Jersey, which is one corner of the Spaghetti Triangle. I don't know if you know what that is, but we could talk about it. We're here with Emerson Woolf. Emerson, welcome to the show.
Hello. Hi, everybody.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having me.
Very excited to have you. A long time coming, I feel like, because I feel like we've been talking about doing this for a few months.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm glad we were able to make it happen.
Yeah, and I'm glad we could set up the space. So also shout out to Chrissy, because like I vacuumed, but then like all the nice touches like that.
It's lovely. There's like a little tray.
This normally is not back there.
Oh, really?
So it's usually over there, you know? But
yeah, it's vibey as hell.
It's very vibey. Mm-hmm. So we wanted to make sure that, you know, we put our best foot forward having you here, because she's a big fan. I'm a big fan.
That's very sweet.
Of course. So Emerson Woolf and the Wishbones. Can we talk about what's Wishbones? Where does Wishbones come from?
Yeah, I guess, well...
Jumping right into a random question.
Well, I knew that I've always wanted to be like in a band. I've never wanted to be a solo project.
Yeah.
But I sort of wanted to do something that even if like it started out and then people weren't as into it, or they switched people, or like anything changed, it would still be like Emerson Woolf and the Wishbones would continue to be a product.
Yeah.
That's a project.
Sure.
That's kind of why I like formatted it that way.
Okay.
And then Wishbones is kind of just, there's a lot of like with our rabbit logo, there's a lot of kind of luck trinkets and kind of like metaphors for luck and like good luck. And it's just kind of a continuation of that. Also the alliteration of wolf and wish.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all all marketing ploy.
Yeah, and it's all just it's just trickery.
Yeah, just to like
trickery and advertisements.
Yeah, but it seems like it's working. And honestly, like, so I saw you for the first time at Wowie in December. I heard you guys play there, and I remember I texted Chrissy and I was like, honestly, they're as good as advertised. Like everything that we listen to, like on the Sonos upstairs, because she loves Jersey Baby, and Not a Good Woman, and most of the other songs. But then when I saw them live, I was like, well, like it's, you know, just a whole great band. Like everybody in the band is really cool.
Feel nice.
And yeah,
the band's great.
Yeah, the band's great. And we'll talk about them in a little bit. But I do want to get your story, you know, and kind of figure out where you come from, because you're not from Jersey originally, right?
No, I've been here for like 3.5 years.
Okay.
But it's my favorite place in the world.
All right.
I love it here.
So where are you from originally? And then eventually, like what brought you to Jersey to kind of, and then made it your favorite place?
Yeah. Well, I've lived in several different places.
Okay.
I'm kind of a bebopper arounder. I most recently was living in Maine before I came here. And I came here because I actually met the Cranston Dean Band in Maine when they were playing.
Cranston.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I met Riley Shiro, obviously from the band.
Okay.
And he invited me out, and I came out to visit him a couple times and just like hung out and met a bunch of people in the scene, and also just was like taking little vacay trips. And then I was like, this place is the coolest place in the world, and I want to live there. So then I moved here.
Yeah. And then music, I mean, obviously like knowing Cranston and all that. So like music must have been a part of the life for a while.
Yeah, definitely. I wasn't really well, when I first met them and stuff, I've always been like writing songs and playing songs, but I wasn't part of anything serious. I wasn't like performing or anything. I kind of was just like, where's the next chapter of my life gonna be? Like, what's like, I know that I was due for a change, and I just like fell in love with all the like sweet people here, honestly. And I also like, there's a lot of cool like culture and things to do in this area.
Sure.
I was just like, wanted to be part of it.
Yeah. And so what got you into music initially, I guess?
Well, I've always loved music.
Sure.
Probably I grew up, the first time I was playing music was like in church, like church music.
Yeah.
So, just starting there really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny, like we have like friends that are musicians, obviously like now, prior to like a few years ago, like I have a lot more friends that are musicians now than I did. But the church thing is like such a like like so many people start there.
Totally.
And then just kind of like branch off and do their own thing. So like at what point do you kind of, I mean, I don't know, I want to say like leave the church.
Right, yeah.
But
well, I have left the church.
Sure, okay.
But yeah, I guess I mean, I mostly did like church songs until probably I was like 13, 14.
Yeah.
And then I started writing my own music.
Okay.
I've never really been that into covering music at all, mostly because I hate playing guitar. Fun fact about me.
Interesting.
I play guitar as a tool to write songs, but it's like the bane of my existence. Like I've never like been a person who was like some people when they talk about learning how to play their guitar, they're like, and then I could just spend hours like learning things and doing it. Like that's just never been me. So I went right into writing, and then anytime it was like learning a cover, I'm like, oh, but I have to learn a whole other chord. So it was like a very slow pulling teeth process. That's why I call myself like a fake musician, because it's like it's all an illusion just so I can say my words basically.
So you told me before about like you had been writing songs and stuff, but not really like performing. So like just
performing like I'd play like at a bar or like here and there, like a coffee shop or something. But it wasn't like a serious project in the way that like this project is, where I'm like trying to like get on like bigger and bigger stages and like connect and like do a tour. Like that was never something that I'd been close to doing up until now.
Yeah. And so like what was like the thing that made that switch for you to go from
I mean, I decided it was like the only thing I've ever wanted to do. And I was just like, if I got to kind of get serious about it and really give it my all. And I think that I'm really happy I did. Obviously, the band itself is the incredible people, and I'm lucky to work with them. And the band started with just Jen and I. Jen Lopes is the lead guitar player.
Yeah.
And we just connected and we're like, what if we tried to start a little band? And then we just kind of jammed on some of the songs. She wrote that Naughty Good Woman hook, that do thing.
Yeah.
And we were just like jamming in her, I guess like her loft or whatever. And we were like, this is actually kind of sick.
Yeah.
And then we thought we'd just like put out feelers and be like, anybody want to be part of this? And then it just kind of fell into place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so how long ago was that when like the Wishbones became the Wishbones?
I guess like we formed like about a year and a half ago now.
Yeah.
And our first like music came out about a year ago.
Okay. Which is still, I mean, that's like,
we're a baby band.
Yeah, a baby band, but you've already put out 2.
We had our first single, Oblivion, then the EP, Not a Good Woman, then Wouldn't It Be Funny, the single. And then our full-length album, Everything Must Go.
Yeah.
And then we've released 2 singles since then, Hurricane Season and A Corner Store Hymn.
Yeah, which are both great. Well, I mean, they're all great tunes, but like, the new ones we really like as well. So like, that's a pretty like breakneck pace, like right out of the gate. Baby band, but just like going for it.
Well, I do write a lot. I have a lot of songs. I feel like it's almost like a necessity. Like we got to pop them out or else they just get backlogged and then there's just like too much, to be real with you. Like I'm a freak of writing songs. No, like genuinely, I just always, it's like the only thing I do. I have no hobbies.
Yeah.
So.
But I also think that like, especially with just kind of the way, and we don't have to get too in the weeds on this one, but just like the way that the music business kind of operates now, especially for like, indie creators around the world. Like if you're not constantly churning out content and music and everything, like
how unfortunate.
You almost get it sucks.
It's true though.
I make music and I feel the same way. That's why we do these episodes every single week.
Yeah.
Because like we have to. If we don't, you kind of get lost.
Lose your momentum, as they say.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is kind of a drag. I think.
It just kind of sucks.
I don't know if I super believe in it, to be real with you. I mean, I think yes, you got to be constantly putting out stuff.
Sure.
But I think that part of it too, and like this might just be like anecdotal, but I feel like sometimes people release something and then it's like a few weeks later and they're like, well, that's old news now.
Yeah.
But I feel like if you keep talking about it, like it stays new also.
Yeah.
More trickery, more marketing trickery.
Yeah. This is like a marketing show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really what we came here to talk about.
Let's talk about email marketing.
I'm not good at talking. I'm like nervous to be on the podcast, actually.
No, it's okay. You're doing great.
I'm usually more of a singer. And then when I'm playing at my shows, I'm even nervous then. Like I don't say much in between the songs because I'm always like, thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Here's another song.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really talk that much.
Interesting juxtaposition being like, not talking that much, but just to be able to sing in front of a bunch of people is...
It's different. I mean, it's very rehearsed.
Yeah, sure. But like also like on stage, it's rehearsed, but also there's like, I don't know, like you vibe with the crowd or something. And
that's true.
Go for it a little bit, but...
No, that is true too.
Yeah. But you're doing great so far.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And we're crushing it. So, okay, when the Wishbones start their thing and only a year ago and you start writing these songs, the songs that you had written prior, because obviously like you must have had like a pretty big backlog of songs to put out. do they get connected there with the Wishbones?
Yeah, so basically the way that the band operates is I write the song and then I will just like usually I like send it ahead of time so people
Mhm.
have a minute to like look at it. But then we'll kind of work out all the other parts over it. But the song as it is, like the structure of it, the chorus, like the format of the song's there and it's finished.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the entire EP was already written before I moved here or met
Okay.
them. A couple of the singles, Wouldn't It Be Funny, was already written.
Yeah.
So yeah, there were like already a lot of songs that it was like, oh, thank you for joining the band. Now let's learn these 20 songs.
Sure.
It was kind of the energy.
Yeah, yeah. And then like when you're writing these songs and you like hate playing guitar and obviously like
it's just now I don't hate it as much as I did in the beginning.
You hated it, but now like you're okay with it.
Mhm.
It's like
We've made peace.
a tool,
Mhm.
but so when you're writing these songs, like did someone teach you how to write songs? Did you like learn it from someone or did you just kind of
I've never
how do you
taken
put
any
it
kind
down
of
on paper or however
Yeah.
you do it?
I don't have any formal training in music or songwriting at all. I just really love songwriting.
Mhm.
I love music and I particularly love like lyrics and storytelling. That's the kind of music I've always been really drawn to.
Sure.
I really love music that like makes me really sad and cry. I love like really like I don't know how to say like punch you in the gut music. And I feel like all of that is lyrical for me in the way that it affects me. So I think just being drawn to other lyricists and just doing it a lot. And it was probably really bad when I first started, but now I think I got the hang of it kind of.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think that's like what, like, cause like when we talk about bands, like Christy and I, or bands that we like or whatever, like we talked about Jackson Pines off mic and just like, we love the way that those songs like tell a story or connect to something or whatever. And like,
It's
that's
like a folk thing too.
yeah, it is a folk thing for sure. And I feel like that's a similar vibe that we get with your music too, is like storytelling, and
Yeah.
and as a storyteller, like in this capacity, like I appreciate that, but it's just through a different lens. You know what I mean?
Totally. Yeah.
So when you move to like we'll say the Asbury Park area, and you're like put out this call for band members, and was the band that I saw at Wowie, is that the same like band that you put together out of the gate?
Yeah, actually, yeah. So Jason Bortizo joined the band,
Mhm.
and then he had already been connected to Zach Moore, and then Zach's brother Jacob Moore.
Okay.
So it was Jen and I. Jason joined for maybe just like a week before the other guys came on, and then he invited them, and that was the band that you saw at Wowie.
Okay.
The Mayo Performing Arts Center is the heart of arts and entertainment in Morristown, New Jersey. MPAC presents over 200 events annually and is home to an innovative children's arts education program. To see MPAC's upcoming schedule of world-class concerts, stand-up comedy, family shows, and more, head to mayoarts.org or just click the link in our show notes.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, as you were adding these pieces to the band, can we talk about like what each of them does and kind of like how important they are to kind of making the band the band?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I mean, I will write a song. Sometimes I have a clearer vision about like a specific part or something,
Mhm.
but for the most part, everybody brings their own thought to the table as far as like their lead part or like Jason's bando part or like the bass line or the how the drums are, like anything is them. But I also feel like it's felt really lucky in the way that it really organically just like they hear exactly kind of what I hear. I feel like it's just like we're really connected in that way. Like I'll bring it to rehearsal and then we'll play it through and it'll be generally almost like everybody had the same thought. You know what I mean? It just like made sense to move that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then each member, like, what do they bring into the band?
Like their instruments, you mean?
Yeah, like what do they play?
Oh
Like,
yeah, so Zach Moore is the drummer.
Okay.
Jacob Moore plays bass guitar. Jason, he is our multi-instrumentalist. He plays mando, banjo, the harmonium on occasion, and Jacob and Jason both sing as well.
Okay.
And then Jen Lopes is lead guitar.
Sure.
Mhm.
And it just, it does like seem just kind of, it all really like works together. And if you had told me, like, I didn't realize that the band was only a year
I never
old,
knew, yeah.
and then just like, it just seemed so cohesive. And like you said, it just all kind of like worked together.
I will also say we do have a couple personnel changes coming up.
Okay.
And they haven't been announced, but this is going to be out in 2 weeks when they will have been announced. So we do also have a couple people shifting in and out as well.
Okay.
Unfortunately, Zach and Jacob, our rhythm section, ended up not staying in the band. We like you said, we're a new band and we got really busy really fast.
Yeah.
And we're just moving, and it's very much like take over your entire life kind of style. So, so it was like, oh, maybe that's not entirely what I signed up for, which is also totally valid.
I'm gonna like jam with my friend.
Yeah, exactly. And much love. Like it was all like lovely and in a nice way. But we are very fortunate and excited that we have Nick Marinelli joining as our new drummer.
Okay.
And also Shane Luckenbaugh as our new bass player.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
So that's fun.
I don't know if you know either of them.
I don't. Nick's name sounds familiar, but
Nick
I don't know.
drums in Via Ripa currently, and also Foes of Fern occasionally.
Oh, maybe that's
Shane Luckenbaugh played drums for the Cranston Dean Band for a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm. Can we also talk about, just because like we've mentioned a couple of the Cranston Dean and Foes of
totally.
Fern and whatever, just kind of like the community also, because obviously like I've been exposed to it a little bit more now that doing the station and then Jersey Fest and all that. But then like knowing like Palm and all these other like Fern, Cranston, like everyone kind of like that's in that scene, and just how like everyone that I've talked to about the Asbury scene and like the music scene here in the state, it always seems
it's the best
great.
ever.
Yeah.
It's actually like wild. Like so not gatekeepy, just everyone wanting the best for everyone. I love it. I love being part of it. Like probably the other like music city I lived in was like Austin, and Austin was like very like cutthroat in a way that it totally could be here. Like you could do that if you wanted to.
Sure.
It's just like so unnecessary.
Yeah.
Like there's a room for everyone, and I like really appreciate that this scene seems very in touch with that and understanding that like there's nothing to gain from keeping a smaller artist out. So when somebody's like emerging or they're like, oh, I'm releasing my first thing, like everybody's like, cool, like what is it like? If it's good, then let's add it in, you know? So
and then like you said, with being a new band, but then also being so busy so fast, like has that been helpful to kind of have like people that that are just like, hey, maybe you should try this or
totally.
whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
no, everybody's been like really great and helpful and knowledgeable. Also our producer, Patrick Noon, has been really like monumental in giving me direction and helping us like make smart choices and to grow as a band. Obviously at this point we're trying to branch out a little bit more. We are playing in Asbury still in 2025, but once every couple of months and spreading out and going to other states and other cities and things. And it's just so awesome to have like such a supportive home base and such a fun home base. Like genuinely every time that you're at anyone's show, it just feels like a reunion party.
Yeah.
Like it's a great time. Yeah.
Yeah. And so when the first single came out, like what?
It came out last December.
Okay. So like 23 December.
Yeah. 2023 December. Yeah.
Okay. So when that single comes out, and obviously like that kind of kickstarts Emerson Woolf and the Wishbones, and going through like the year, was there like a moment where you or anyone in the band was like, this is like getting like we're moving really fast? Maybe did you like expect to be moving that fast? Because I feel like maybe some people
I kind of
do
did,
or
but
don't or
that's
whatever.
because I'm insane. Like everybody was like, I was like, oh yeah, we're gonna be like famous next year. But that's just how I operate as a person.
Well, I love that.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, right from the gate, it was great. I mean, we played our single release show at Over the Moon Art Studios. That was with Surfing for Daisy. They were also kind of getting started similarly around the same time as us, I feel like.
Honestly, yeah.
So and that was awesome. And then we had some like social media success as well. We released our NPR Tiny Desk video for last year, and that got some good traction and helped us make some connections, like further away connections, like out of state connections.
Yeah.
And then after that, we played actually at Pino's in Highland Park. And I remember that must have been like that spring of 2024. And I remember there was like a group of people at the show who came up to me after the show and they were like, yeah, we drove like 5 hours to get here. And I was like, what? And they're like, yeah, we like just heard you, we know you from Spotify, and we got a van of us and we all drove here. And I was like, what on God's green earth are you talking about? Like that was the first time I remember that show, because that was the first time that like we'd had fans at the show who like didn't know us.
Yeah.
Like they weren't like friends or like people from the scene. It was like strangers.
Yeah.
And like since then, like every time that happens, it's like wild. Yeah.
Yeah. That's so funny too that you mentioned Surfing for Daisy, because like when we booked them for Jersey Fest, like they only had like a couple songs out, and they had
Yeah.
like 2,000 Instagram followers. And by the time we got to May, that was like February. By the time we got to May, they had a few more songs out, but they had like popped to like
Yeah.
10 plus thousand.
Yeah.
They traveled probably like the best out of all the bands that played the initial, with
Yeah.
fans and
They're
people
great.
coming out.
They're
and they were
fantastic. Yeah.
phenomenal
Every time we get to play with them, it's a treat.
for sure. That was like
Last was Wowie. We played Wowie with
yeah,
them.
Wowie. And because I came out for that because we did the little show at the cheer event,
Mm.
and then I was like deciding like whether or not I would just go home right after because I had worked in Jersey City all day that day doing like production on a podcast, and then I drove down, did the show, and then I was like beat, and then I like looked at the lineup and I was like, I'm staying. Just because it was like one after another. I was like, I've never seen Emerson, so I gotta watch her.
Oh, I'm
and
so
her
glad.
band.
Oh, and we were like in the middle of the night.
Yeah, right.
Were we? Oh my gosh.
We're like so late.
We were the last one of the night. So, oh my God, that was really brave of you to
It was
say,
brave.
I'm such a sleepy grandma. I could never. I'm like, that's like impressive to me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing. I was texting Chrissy. I was like, they're not on till like 10:30 or whatever it was. And she was like, woof. She's like, are you going to stay? And I was like, I really want to see like at least one song.
Yeah.
And then like, I think Surfing for Daisy was maybe like right before you.
They were
the
right
main
before us,
stage,
yeah.
And then I was like, okay, they gave me like new life.
Yeah.
And I watched you guys for a few songs, and then I was like, it was like 11 o'clock, and I was like, I'm gonna get home at like midnight or whatever. So
Nice.
I pulled the plug on that, but it was great to see you guys play. So okay, at some point in this kind of like career in music now, you are now going full time just in music.
Yeah, I just quit my job.
Sure.
I just had my last day last week.
How does that feel?
Horrifying. I'm so scared. I'm so scared. I am like, yeah, I'm very afraid. I feel like it was getting to a point though where it was like, if I don't leave my job, like I'm having to like turn down opportunities because of this job.
Yeah.
And I mean, mathematically, it should add up to I'm supposed to be making the same, like I'm supposed to be able to pay my bills still.
Sure.
But like, I don't know. It's just scary. I've never worked for myself. I've never like worked for myself and been like freelance. And it's like, oh yeah, I'm fine for February, March, but then it's just like a black hole after that. And that's a little scary.
Yeah.
Like,
welcome to my life.
it's like, so then what?
Yeah.
So I'm like, hopefully people keep booking us and things. But it's like, I really want to like I care a ton about this project. I believe in it. I think that we can do it full time as a band. I think it can be something that we like make like we do with our lives.
Sure.
And I kind of just feel like I gotta give it a try now.
Yeah. If not now, then
when am I gonna do
never
it?
gonna do it.
Right. So I'm like, might as well.
Yeah.
I'm like, worst comes to worst, I can quit and be a bartender and be like, that was in a band that one time.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not even like it's one of those things where I feel like it's not even it's not going to happen. But even if that does happen, it's just to like bridge the gap a little bit.
Yeah,
because like it's hard out of the gate.
No, you're true. Yeah,
but then just like get you to like the next month.
Mm-hmm.
Be like, all right, now we're good.
Yeah.
See a bartender job.
Exactly.
Has there been any places? Because obviously we talked about Asbury Park a lot, but has there been any places where you guys have played other places where maybe you were like, I can't believe I'm playing here. Like, this is really cool. Any other spots?
I mean, my craziest show of the year was definitely the Count Basie Theater.
Okay.
That was crazy. I opened for Beth Hart on her tour, and that was like the biggest stage I've ever played on.
Yeah.
Totally wild. Absolutely bizarre. She was wonderful.
Sure.
Very sweet lady.
Yeah.
And that was like a moment I was like, oh my gosh. Like we're not in Kansas anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then and this year already, you kind of have some stuff booked up, right? Like you guys are going to.
Yeah, next week we're going to be in South Carolina. We're playing the Radio Room there, which is a really cool venue. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but
I will check it out.
It's like a very cool venue as well. Yeah, I'm really excited to go down to South Carolina. We're also playing a couple like pop-up shows, like secret shows while we're there, which is going to be like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Just a quick little weekender. And then we're coming back, and on March 7th, we're playing Pino's in Highland Park again with Sarah Gross, who's on her tour.
Okay.
I'm excited as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. Jersey Fest also.
Jersey Fest, yeah.
We're very excited.
Wasn't sure if I was allowed to talk about that.
No, we
yet.
could talk about it. Nobody listens anyway. No, but yeah, we haven't even announced the date officially yet, but it's May 17th, so everyone that's listening gets like a little treat. and Emerson Woolf and the Wishbones are one of the bands that's playing Jersey Fest this year, which
Really
we're very
fun.
excited about. Yeah, when we like, it's like we get reached out to a lot about playing those shows, but like I have a very
You have a
like
vision.
a vision, and I'm like, all right, I want these bands and like
I love it.
yeah, because it's like I want to be able to represent different parts of the state and different genres of music and stuff too. Um, we won't say who the other bands are because we only have one other band. We're working on the other one, but I think right now between the two bands that we have, and it's
I
two
love a
bands
mixed
that take
genre show.
yeah, it's fun, it's different,
So
a
cool.
little eclectic kind of
I
thing.
remember playing at the Bond Street Basement on my birthday last year,
Yeah.
and they put us on with who was it? It was Mother Way
Okay.
and like a couple other bands that were just like super not like us.
Yeah.
And it was like the best show of the year. I just remember. I just think it's so fun. I love getting
Yeah.
like hyped to like all the different like weird funky genres.
Yeah.
And then ended up becoming Mother Way is like my favorite New Jersey band.
Okay.
Probably.
Yeah. We talked about kind of like songwriting and like playing in church and all that kind of stuff, and you said no real like formal training, which
Sure.
who really does, but um are there like influences, I guess, for you? Like are there people or bands
Like
or
songwriting influence?
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's like a really hard question because I just like love so many
Yeah.
different songwriters. I think that like besides like Christian music, I also like early was into a lot of like Leonard Cohen and like Bob Dylan
Okay.
style songwriting. Um and when I was like young, I was exposed to a lot of that. And then I feel like now, I mean, I love people like Julia Jacklin, like John Moreland,
Okay.
just people who are like super like emotive, expressive. I'd say that some of the songwriters that I really love are also pretty autobiographical, which is the way that I describe myself. Like a lot of my songs are like very much like a personal experience, like told in song.
Sure.
And I feel like that's something that draws me towards other songwriters as well. It just feels kind of like a window into like a world. It's kind of like, I don't know, it's like existential in a way. It's
Yeah.
like cool to me.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I like that because I mean, it's always interesting to me because like I don't really play any instruments, nor do I write songs. But
Okay.
just like I love like the creative process and like how people go from like A to B,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
from like where they started to what they're doing now. Speaking of doing now, so like we mentioned a couple of the shows that you guys are playing, but now that Emerson Wolf and the Wishbones is like that's what you do now, like that's
Totally.
your business. On
Yeah.
your LinkedIn, it's gonna be like Emerson Wolf and the
Oh my God, I should have a LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I don't have a
You
LinkedIn.
should have a LinkedIn. So what are now that it's kind of like the day-to-day operation for you and it's like a little bit more um you know, it's not that it wasn't serious before, but now it's like the only thing you have to worry about. Like what are you hoping for the band kind of coming up in 2025?
Yeah, I mean, booking lots of shows. We are trying to get a tour going together for July. We've got a couple like festivals and venues on that tour to come. And then we've got a lot of new music to release as well. We've got a single coming out next month and then a couple more after that. Really just trying to like make those connections to keep us as busy as we are.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just like I could play every single night. Like that's what I want to do. So I'm basically just torturing everybody in my band all the time.
Yeah. I'm curious, like when you talk about like playing out live or writing songs and like things that you love to do, are there like of those things, is there like one in particular like you love the most? Like do you love playing live in front of people the most, or do you like
Mm.
the process of writing the most?
I
Maybe
think
that's a hard
that
thing to
it
answer.
is hard. I feel like I really love the recording process.
Oh, the recording process.
I really love recording and releasing like songs and like curating them like in the studio.
Yeah.
I think just part of it being like a composer and a songwriter, it's just like bringing the vision like fully to life in that way. I love playing live. Again, like I said, like I could play live every single night. I feel like that's like a close second, but I think like the ultimate like fruit of the labor, if you will, for me
Sure,
is
yeah,
like
yeah.
completing it in the studio, hearing it like exactly how I envisioned it and like have it come to life. Like
Yeah.
that's what I love. And I love to like I can't do that alone, you know what I mean? I love
Right.
working with the team to make it happen.
Yeah, and that's what makes it fun. I feel like is just being able to like, and that's what I said like about just the creative because everyone's brains work a little bit different,
Totally.
and then like you're thinking something, but then somebody else says something, and it kind of like clicks in your head.
Absolutely.
And that's like the process,
Mhm.
and then so I just forgot what I was going to ask. It was really a good question too.
Oh, damn.
I want to talk about let's talk about social
Sure.
media because you do a pretty good job with it.
Thank you.
And I know that it's also like a new service from Emerson Woolf is that
Yeah.
she'll help run a band's socials.
Help keep my music dreams alive.
Yeah.
Hire me.
So can we talk a little bit about just like obviously like it's a necessary part of
Yeah. I mean,
really anything now.
totally.
And like how you approach it and how you do it and what
Mhm.
has worked for you and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's obviously important. I know a lot of people hate doing it.
Sure.
I hate doing it sometimes.
Yeah.
I like there's obviously plenty to hate about it. But I mean, like kind of drawing back to that story about the group of friends who came to see us in Highlands, like they found me through Instagram.
Mhm.
And that's what I love about it. Like it's the real life connections that are made from it. Like it's not all like they're not like just like little people on the screen. Those are like your real genuine fans. And
Yeah.
like so many of those people I've been able to like connect with. Like I went solo to South Carolina a few months ago and I played a show and there were like a bunch of people in the crowd like singing my songs. Like that's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, I've never been here.
Yeah.
I don't know this song. Like that kind of stuff. It's like
Yeah.
wild. I mean, I think it's like the thing that like I don't know, the way that I look at it is like social media is just a free tool to use as you will.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to pay anything. You don't have to pay for ads. You don't have to do any of that stuff. All you have to do is like put yourself out there. And the more like yourself you are, like the more successful that will be. I feel like it's like, I think that people get really caught up and hate it because it feels so fake and so polished. And
Sure.
obviously a ton of people use it that way.
Yeah.
No shame to them. Like I love some fake polished content on the internet.
Totally.
But I mean, genuinely, I think that the stuff that works like the best in the way of like finding your people is when you're just like being yourself and like putting it out there.
Yeah.
And that feels scarier and that feels harder to do. But I think it's the reward is greater. And I think that that's how I've connected with like a ton of our fans. And
Yeah.
it's like also just a cool way to like see how like different people interpret the songs and feel about the music. Like I get like these like crazy messages where somebody's like, "Oh, like Not a Good Woman like made me realize I needed to like leave my husband."
Sure.
And they're like, "I literally left him." Like that's
Yeah.
like a real message I've received and I'm just like, "That's crazy."
Yeah.
Like
Good for you. Yeah.
it's crazy seeing like people
Yeah.
like real life like in being part of it. You know what I mean? Being
Yeah.
part of the art, being part of like the message and the meaning of all of it. Like actually like having it like affect their life in like a little tiny way. I don't mean like
Sure.
obviously that there's probably plenty of reasons
Not
for that
everyone
woman to
is
leave her
leaving.
husband.
Yeah, right.
But
Who else does that song?
It's just like a cool thing. I don't know. I love,
Yeah.
and I also feel like, back in the olden days, like an artist wasn't able to directly talk to their fan base in that way as individuals.
Yeah.
Like I love it when people message me and start a conversation. I love talking to people.
Yeah.
Like it's just cool. I think it's like a special little piece of something that you can't really get anywhere else.
Yeah, it is really cool. Like when you really start to kind of cultivate, because like that's really what it is. I mean, you can put out music, you can host a podcast, you can do all kinds of things, but it's like when you really start to capture a community and
Mhm.
like be able to interact with them
Totally.
and like it impacts their life in some way,
Mhm.
like that's when you have like the secret sauce. I feel like
Absolutely.
kind of like
And that's how I
you
feel
have a
about it.
relationship with them, even though in some cases you've never met them in person.
Yeah.
They never meet them in person, but
Yeah.
they feel connected to you and you have a relationship
Mhm.
with them.
No, that community word's really important. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what people who are like, "Oh, I hate it and don't want any part of it." That's like something that I think that isn't maybe understood by like that demographic of people because I think everybody does want community with their fan base and they do
Sure.
want community. And I think that there is obviously like it's weird because it's a double-edged sword, right? It's very antisocial and can be very like isolating, but it's kind of all about like what you put into it in a way.
Sure.
Like you can make it whatever you want it to be.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, so that's really what it is. It's like you can make it whatever you want and you can like give or not give as much as
Totally.
you want.
Very true.
Turn the spigot off, turn it back on, whatever. Can we talk a little bit about the what's or this is what we'll do. Let's hit with the socials and where people can go find you and the band and like where they can find all the stuff coming up. And then maybe we'll do a song.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds good.
I like that.
Yeah.
We're like right at, this is a perfect amount of time of an episode. So
Perfect.
let's hit him with all the socials, and then we'll kind of get like regrouped. I'll move the cameras around, the mics, and then we'll get that going. So
Sounds good. Yeah, so you
let's hit
can
'em.
find us on Instagram at Emerson Woolf Music. Same username on TikTok. We're new over there, but come say hello anyway.
Yeah.
And you can also find us obviously on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you're streaming, Emerson Woolf and the Wishbones.
Awesome. Well, we'll put all those in the show notes. People could just go click them, check them out, engage with the stuff, join that community. Because you have a
Definitely.
broadcast channel. Too,
Yes,
right?
the broadcast channel, we have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We like talk about art and we share pictures of our cats and stuff.
Amazing.
So
yeah.
Yeah, and the broadcast channel also I do like giveaways and stuff. Like the broadcast channel, we're the first people to be able to like order vinyl, things like
Sure.
that. So like
Yeah.
if you want to be in the know.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm getting one. I'm very excited about
Yeah,
that.
thank you for ordering one.
Absolutely. I mean, I got to put it on the wall. And I mean,
I'm very excited for that to be
yeah,
here.
me too. And then like merch and stuff like that too.
Yep. Yeah, that's all through the broadcast channel. We do giveaways. We do like short pre-orders of stuff. You can also find our merch shop on our Patreon. Support us over there if you'd like to. Help us get some funding for the tour.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, thank you for coming over.
Thank you for having me.
We'll get regrouped here in a second. We'll, move everything around. But we'll put all the links in the show notes. People just go click them. We'll put greetingsfromthegarden.com in the show notes as well. So people just go check that out with all of our other episodes from this year. Thank you again. Thank you everybody for listening. This has been the Greetings from the Garden State podcast powered by the New Jersey Lottery. I'm Mike Ham, and we'll catch you next time.